The government shutdown continuing through the weekend as senators failed to reach a funding agreement yesterday. House Republicans holding a conference call this morning as Speaker Mike Johnson says the lower chamber may not come back until Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is ready to reopen the government. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer joins me now. Congressman, welcome.
Good to be with you, Mike.
So this conference call that you and the leadership team had with House Republicans this morning, tell us about it.
Very short call. A lot of people participated, but the message was very simple. The House has done its work, and when people ask about negotiations, we did negotiate. The negotiation was for a clean continuing resolution that goes through November 21st. That was the negotiation, which, by the way, Chuck Schumer actually negotiated the same thing 6 months ago, and he voted for it 3 times previously. So the message this morning, Mike, was very simple. House Republicans are ready to get back to work and finish the people's business as soon as Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate reopen the government.
I want to play a clip from House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and I will get you to react to it.
Here's the problem with Republicans. They continue to try to jam their extreme right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people. When will they learn their lesson? I mean, this is about the health care of everyday Americans. They continue to try to confuse the issue.
Is a 7-week continuing resolution extreme ideology?
Well, actually, Hakeem's playing from the wrong songbook. He has nothing else to say. The reality is this. A clean CR, which Hakeem, by the way, supported 13 times under the Biden administration, has nothing to do with this full argument about health care that they're trying to bring up. And by the way, Mike, here's what they did. We have a clean CR sitting over in the Senate. The response by Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate, because frankly, Hakeem is not relevant to this discussion. Their response has been simply because Chuck is worried about his leadership post. Their response has been, we want 1.5 trillion more in spending. And by the way, we want to put illegals back on taxpayer-funded health care while at the same time gutting $50 billion from the rural health care fund that Republicans created. Hakeem is, one, he's not relevant. 2, his message is way off mark. The extremists on this side are on the Democrat side. It's Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate. This is not about some policy thing. This is obviously not about health care. Otherwise, why would they be gutting rural health care, Mike? This is literally about Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate trying to appease their radical left-wing base to pick a fight with Donald Trump. That's the only reason they're doing this.
The House is now not expected to return this week unless, of course, there's a deal. Do you worry that the Senate may cut a deal that the House members may not like?
I worry about a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm not worried about the clean CR. I think John Thune has been very clear. I think his members have been very clear. This is not a matter of Republicans. This is purely Democrats. Everybody on the left likes to say, well, you have all three. You have the White House, the House, and the Senate, the trifecta. What they forget is there is a 60-vote threshold in the Senate for cloture. To get a bill to the floor, you got to get 60 senators, which means you have to have 7 Democrats. They're not willing to do this. Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate, including my senators here at home, Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith, are literally holding the American people hostage in order to get 1.5 trillion in additional spending and literally to put illegals back on our taxpayer-funded health care. Look, this is going to have real life consequences in my state and all across this country. That's what I'm worried about. Because of what Chuck Schumer and Democrats like Amy and Tina are doing, guess what? 13,000 guardsmen here in Minnesota are going to be without a paycheck come October 15th. Another 100,000 women, infants, and children who are on the WIC program are not going to get those benefits. And the list goes on and on. The CBO, Mike, has said that this shutdown is going to cost us $400 million a day to have roughly 750,000 federal workers furloughed.
White House Budget Director Russ Vought is taking a look at which, quote, Democrat agencies to cut permanently or temporarily. Should that cause Democrats to get back and cut a deal?
Well, Democrats should be motivated to come back and vote for the clean CR, Mike, because it's something they've done 13, 14 times already. This is nothing new. There's no games being played. They know that. They need to come back and do their job, because at the end of the day, people like Russ Vought, the administration, have to make some extremely difficult decisions. And you want to avoid that? Well, just reopen the government and let's get back to negotiating as Republicans and Democrats, which, by the way, Mike, was already happening. They want to make it sound like there was none. The House and the Senate I think it was the second week of September, actually had formal motions voted off the Senate floor and the House floor to go to conference on 3 of the appropriations bills. Mike, that hadn't happened since 2018. This is a ridiculous shutdown. It is caused by Chuck Schumer. He's just a scared old man who's afraid of losing his leadership post. And quite frankly, he's willing to sacrifice Americans, whether it's our working men and women, it's our veterans, our military personnel, TSA agents, women, infants, and children on WIC. The list just goes on and on. Time for them. That's what I'm worried about. Time for Chuck Schumer to put the American people before his own political interests, and let's get moving again.
House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, the great state of Minnesota. Many thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.